If you cast your minds back to our very first episode of Host Stories, you may remember my story of the lockup and recording of a ghost with my friend Jack. Well, here he is tonight to talk more with me about what he remembers of that night, and you'll actually get to hear what we recorded that night too. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Jack.
Hello, everyone.
Quite some time ago that this happened. I was trying to remember an exact date, and I can't. All I can remember, it must have been in like 2009 or 10, if I can remember. Definitely.
Yeah, it was about that. Yeah, it was damn cold. So yeah, I think it was sort of in the late autumn, winter time as well. And yeah, it was one crazy night, wasn't
it? yeah. It really was. Well, I didn't expect it. We both didn't expect to what we captured that night, and I still now when I play it back, I get all goosebumps just thinking about it. But yeah, so just for our sort of listeners at home, would you care to share your memories of what you remember from that night?
Yeah, I'd love to, man. Yeah, so obviously me and you went down the pub for a pint or two, the weekly catch up. And I don't know why, but I think we had one or two drinks, and we got around to talking about the paranormal. I think it stems from, I think we were talking about maybe there was a new Exorcist film come out, and or something like that, maybe one of the sinister ones, and we were just chatting about that, and we thought it would be a good idea to go ghost hunting. So as you do, so I think that at the pub, it was just around the corner from the cemetery, the church area, and the lockup's just to the side of it. So I think we started off in the cemetery, if I remember right, sort of walking around, just being stupid, but like Ghostbusters and things like that. But yeah, I think from a young age that we've always sort of shared paranormal interests, haven't we? We've always sort of discussed it even from school. So we thought, well, we were pretty pros at this. So yeah, I think that from what I remember, we were going around there for a little while, and we thought, yeah, a great idea, and it still is a great idea to stick my phone through the top bars of the lockup. I know in your previous episode that you sort of explained what the lockup is, but yeah, it's just to lock up drunks for the night. If you're waiting court, it's just a small little room. So yeah, I hit record, put my hand through the bars, and I think it was you saying, talk to me and knock once, knock twice, and we're having a laugh about it. I was thinking, I hope no one sees us or anything like that. What are you doing? Calling the police that we're vandalising a historic building. So after that, it was like, this is dumb anyway, and sort of played back the recording, and obviously, yeah, it was chilling. And I think I ran, and I think I left you in the dark. Yeah, it was really scary. It was the pitch black at night, just running around. Where we're from. It was really, really scary, actually. And for some reason, like when we were walking home, I think we went back to your house, just around like a debrief, I think. And I kept thinking that my hand was really dirty because, like, maybe the ghost was in there, like touching it or something like that. And I was a little bit freaked out by that. I was thinking, oh, maybe my phone's formatted and things like that. So yeah, that was yeah, it was a crazy night, and I think that yeah, when we got back to yours, I think we were sort of in your living room chatting about it and things like that. And we used to live about a minute from each other, a minute walk. And I think in the pitch black, I thought, well, pretty much I ran home in about 8 seconds. I was so scared, just absolutely zoomed it through the back alleys, thinking, oh god, it's following me. So yeah, it was a crazy one. Yeah, glad we done it though.
From what I remember that night, they used to have like the lamppost. From what I remember, I think it was back when they used to use like the orange lamps. So like, and I think everything was sort of like a bit sort of hazy anyway. But I think that just added to the whole sort of like spookiness of like the atmosphere. Like, we was obviously having a laugh and joking, but like as soon as we played, as soon as we played that back, it's like everything changed. It's just like God. I felt like yeah, it's like they say you feel like the blood drained from your face. Yeah, it was such an eerie sort of like feeling. And even now, if I ever like when I used to go to like the River Mill pub, which was you had to walk down the road past the lockup to get to the River Mill, and I always used to walk on the opposite side of the road to it. At night, this was I wouldn't like walking next to it, because like
Holding the crucifix.
yeah, for our listeners out there, it's a really old little brick building, and there's only one entrance, and it's never open to the public. Well, maybe on like one day a year, I think they might on like May Day, they might open it, but yeah, it's not you can't get in there. So yeah, I think that just adds to the creepiness of it as well. Because I would actually like to go in there one day during daylight, just to actually see. Because I think there's two rooms in there, but I would actually like to see what was inside it. But yeah, did you thinking back to that night when you had your hand sort of like through the bars? Do you remember? Do you feel anything like, or did it just feel normal to you at the time?
No, it was completely normal. I didn't feel anything, or to be honest, I didn't think anything was going to happen. Um, no, it was, they say sort of the room goes cold. I mean,
Yeah,
it was a cold night, but the room goes cold sort of when there's an entity and things like that. But I don't recall anything sort of extraordinary happening, or feeling or thinking anything. Um, yeah, but sort of from that point on, I was like, it's real. I'm a believer of ghosts and spirits and things like that. It's right, Nigel. I don't know. My sort of outlook on it changed on a dime. I was thinking, damn, that's because I couldn't think of anything like a reasonable
yeah,
explanation. Um, on that, there was definitely no one in there. You know, maybe a rat or a mouse, but it definitely doesn't
no,
sound
I
like
mean,
that at all. So that really sort of from that night on really changed my outlook.
I got
Yeah,
sort of when I think back to it, I remember I got the feeling of like threat. Even now, when I listen back to the recording and I remember being there, um, I just get a feeling that it was like it was a warning. I just yeah, it was a warning to get away, get away. But shall I play this
yeah,
recording for everyone to hear? Are you prepared to hear it again, Jack?
yeah. Go for it. Yeah.
Oh, so I'll just pause it. Can you actually hear that, Jack?
No, I can't hear it. No.
Oh, I mean, I think it would help if I hang on. Shared my screen. Can you see this?
Yeah,
Okay, right. So yeah, I actually so with this, I put it on. So I managed to put the track onto my iPod, and just forgot about it. And for many years, I had it just on my iPod, and that's how I got it again. I had to get some software to rip the MP3 from my iPod to put it back onto to my Mac. So it took me quite a little while to sort of to find it. Um, so here we go. Did you manage to hear
Yeah, dude. Yeah, scary.
it? Yeah. So as I say, I had that track on my iPod, one of the really old ones where you could have like video on. I think it was one of the first ones where you could actually watch videos on. But I had this on my iPod and I had it on shuffle, and I was driving on. I think I must have played a gig somewhere, and I was driving on my own on the way home in the pitch black country roads. I had my iPod in the AUX cable on shuffle, and I was sort of blasting away at my music, and all of a sudden that came on, and I tell you, it scared the living shit out of me. When you can hear it on like 30 all around you, and you got a little subwoofer in the back, it absolutely, God, it sent me straight back there. And that's why I say it. Every time I hear it, it feels like a threat of like, don't mess with me.
Yeah, yeah. You know, now you say like the threat element to it. I, I think you're right. It does sound sort of threatening. As in, get out of here. Who the hell are you? Sort of sticking your hands through the bars, which kind of yeah, it's kind of scary. Yeah, well, it was really, really peculiar, really scary. But yeah,
Your ghost story. Your ghost story.
And it was quite some time ago, but since we had that experience, have you ever experienced anything strange or anything you couldn't explain either before that happened or since?
um, yeah, I can. It was a few years. I think it was only probably about a year or two after the incident happened at the lockup. Is we, as a family, mum, dad, and sister, my mum's boss owned a cottage in Scotland, and not just sort of Scotland across the border, but sort of up in the Highlands. And we drove up there one sort of during the summer holidays, and it was a really old cottage, really nice, and thought it was great. You're sort of in the middle of nowhere, near the coast as well. And it was actually belonged to her dad, who sort of passed years and years ago. And obviously, it was capital sort of equity what she had. That was a really cool house. It was really old. Obviously there was clearly a bit of DIY to do and a bit of renovation, but we had a good time anyway. And I think it was on the first night. Me and my sister sort of slept in the same room, two separate beds, and I do remember the presence of being watched. Sort of, when you wake up from a slumber, and it's no alarm bells, but my dad used to sort of do that when we were younger. So I was thinking, oh, it's dad, no problems. Sort of go back to sleep. And I remember waking up sort of in the morning, and Ruth, my sister, was already up. I said, why was there watching this anyway? We're on holiday. Because my dad used to get up really early for work in the mornings, and he used to come in and just sort of make sure we were okay, 5, 6 in the morning. Um, and yeah, my sister was something like, I don't know, no, I'm not too sure, it's weird. So we both went downstairs anyway, and my mum and dad were downstairs, sort of pottering about, sort of still getting things unpacked and sorted. And I said to Dad, "Oh, were you watching us last night?" He said, "No, I wasn't watching you last night." So yeah, you definitely were. You know, where you just sort of feel a presence. And Mum came in and sort of said, "Our children, apparently someone tucked Dad's feet in because they were hanging out in the bed last night." So we're like, "Oh my God, you know, that's really weird." But it wasn't a scary feeling. It was more of like quite comforting. You know, it's still odd nonetheless, you know, and we weren't scared, but we were sort of very aware that this was sort of happening. My dad was very, very skeptical about ghosts. So he's like, "Oh, no, it didn't happen. You must have done it, Diane." So no, it wasn't me, you know, sort of. And a few weeks later, sort of when we came back, Mum told the owner of the house, her boss, about it, and those are the things her dad used to do to her. And where we slept was her room, and he used to tuck people's feet in the end of the bed because obviously, like an old bed, their feet used to stick at the end of the bed. So that was, yeah, that was really strange. And I can remember it now. Probably a lot of people, but when you just feel that you're being watched, and it's a strange feeling. You know, it could go two ways. You're being watched in, you know, for bad intentions. You can be watched because someone wants to look after you. So yeah, that was really weird. Yeah, it was quite strange.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, if someone if someone tucked my feet in the bed and I was like semi-conscious, I think that like, and I looked up and there's no one there, I would be pretty freaked out. I feel I'd probably be laying there still going, "All right, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep." But yeah, definitely that feeling. It's actually it's actually true. It's a psychological thing, and even when the police or FBI or whatever bureau are on a stakeout, they're actually trained that when they're watching their target, they're trained not to look directly at them for too long, because it's almost like we have a sixth sense that if someone's watching us, we can feel it, because that's exactly why they tell them not to stare directly at them, because those people will suss them out and will be able to sort of like know that they're being watched. So it that if you get a feeling that you're being watched, you're more than likely are being watched. I mean, we've all had it. Like, for instance, when you're sitting in the car and you pull up at traffic lights and there's a car next to you, and you get that feeling that someone's looking at you. You look at them and they quickly look away, and it's like, I know you were looking at me.
Yeah,
But it's definitely, yeah. I definitely think if you feel like you're being watched, then you most likely are being watched. I used to get it at my house I lived at previous to this. Every now and again, I'd be in the front room on my own, and it would feel like someone in the kitchen, because we had a stairs that went, and our stairs went from the kitchen. So well, most places usually like the stairways in like the front room going upstairs, but ours was from the kitchen. And you'd be sitting on the I'd be sitting on the sofa, and I'd just like look over, and I'd feel like that someone was in the kitchen on the stairs, sort of like it felt like they was peeking at me, but I didn't see anything. But I just felt it. You know, I had a really weird experience in that house where I used to have bad not bad dreams as such, but I'd hear a door slam, and I'd sort of like be wide awake thinking that someone's broken in the house, and I'd be like looking around the house, um, seeing if someone, like, why are these doors slamming? But I don't know whether that was in my head or not. And I remember once my name was whispered in my ear. So yeah, and also knocking on my I had a little bedside table next to my bed, and three knocks, like bang, bang, bang. I remember that. Oh, and that was in the middle of the night, and that actually really sort of like really unnerved me because I was just like, I definitely heard that, definitely heard it, but I can't see anything because it's pitch black. And it was a bit strange. I didn't feel threatened. It was just when something is unknown, yeah, it's just it's quite terrifying when you can't explain something that's happened that you should be able to explain. Like you should, if someone's knocking on your bedside cabinet, you should either see something that's fallen on it or someone standing there somewhere. But
Yeah.
that's just a really weird, really weird feeling.
But I suppose that sort of poses the question of if you heard that one night, sort of three loud bangs on your bedside table, would you rather see something or not? Because they're both pretty bad. I suppose it depends how you feel and what you're actually seeing. Because I think it's really scary if you hear something and you look up and you can't see anything. So really, in essence, it could be anything.
That's it. You know, if I did see someone standing there, I would have had to have changed the bed covers.
Yeah, yeah. Only because you beat them up so badly, they've got blood everywhere, right?
Yeah, that is exactly it.
Yeah. No, it's sometimes when I live in a sort of a house that was built around 1900, so we got sort of really long, narrow gardens, and the gardens sort of go into a wooded area, and the kitchen is like a little extension on the back of it, and sort of like when I'm doing the washing up, pouring about in the kitchen, sort of when it's pitch black, obviously the lights are on. I think anybody can be watching me right now, just sort of hiding in the woods, and that sort of scares the shit out of me a little bit. So I have to take a break from something. We don't have blinds in there either, so anyone could be looking.
Oh yeah,
That does sort of unnerve me a little bit, but
that is that is a bit creepy. So, how big are the woods outside the back of your house? Is it quite a lot, or is it just
probably 20 yards. Then there's a drop, and then sort of a small stream. And on the other side of it, it sort of banks up to the woods. So in total, I'd say it's about 50 foot, no, about 50 yards. So it actually got to the point where I'm not really a logical person where someone would just install blinds and close them. I actually built a fence across it, so no one can see. I've got little doors if you want to sort of pop out there and do a bit of a foraging for mushrooms or whatever you want to do in the woods. There you can, but yeah, I think I should just put some blinds up instead of putting a fence across. But yeah, it's a bit spooky sometimes.
Yeah, there's a place in the UK. Have you heard of Cannock Chase?
No, I haven't.
Cannock Chase. It's just outside, just above, past Birmingham, above Wolverhampton, and it's a Cannock Chase. It's a forest, the county of Staffordshire, England. But the thing about this forest is it's throughout time it's known to have a lot of eerie things that happen there. There's the story of the black-eyed girl. So she's been spotted quite a few times by different people. And there was one couple, so they walk because there's some really nice areas to walk around in Cannock Chase, like nature trails. And a couple were walking, and they spotted a little girl off in the distance, just in a white dress. And at first, they were a bit concerned because they just see this little girl on her own. They didn't see any adults with her, so they're a bit concerned. And as they got a little bit closer, they realized that her eyes were completely black, like no whites in her eyes, and she was sort of smiling at them sinisterly.
No way.
And then then it freaked them out. And but there's also stories of have you heard of what a woodwoe is?
Yeah, I've heard of them. Yeah.
Woodwose. So Woodwose are like our equivalent of a Bigfoot, but they're not. I don't think they're as big as like the Bigfoots that are a sight in America.
Mm.
But there's been many stories of these Woodwose that live in Cannock Chase Forest, and they've been spotted many times by people. There was one story where there were 3 people working in a part of the forest, and they had a works van, and it was getting towards the end of the day of their working shift, but only 2 people could fit in the van at a time. So there was 2 blokes and a woman, and 2 of them, the guy took the woman back first, and the other guy was just sitting around there waiting for him. And he said, as he was sitting there waiting, he didn't have anything, sort of like nothing to do, just sort of just sitting there on a log. And he said, all of a sudden, he felt like that he was being watched. And he said he looked up and he saw a face popping out the side of a tree, staring at him, and then quickly popped in. And at first, he thought that someone was like messing around, like there's someone hiding in the forest. And then he sees it again, and he's starting to feel unnerved because it doesn't look like a normal person. And then I think they moved to a different tree, and when he saw the outline of it sort of like really freaked him out. And because he was like near a dirt track with a van, and was going to come and pick him up, he was just like cursing to himself, like, wish this van would hurry up. And his mate eventually came back, and he got in the van, and he just was silent on the drive back. And the guy kept asking him what was wrong, and he didn't want to say anything, but eventually he told him. And he said, those are the Woodwose. If you leave them alone, they'll leave you alone. But in a lot of churches around the UK, there's actually in the stonework of the really old churches, they've got depictions of what they call a Woodwoe, and it looks like a ape man. But it's I really want to visit. I don't know why. I'm not going to see anything, but I really want to visit the Cannock Chase and just sort of see it for myself. There's another story about this lady. I think it was in the late 80s or 90s, and so she's gone to Cannock Chase. She goes there on her walks quite regularly just to chill out. And she's there one day sitting by a tree, brilliant sunshine. And she said this man emerged from the forest. And she said he looked really dirty. Like he looked like he was wearing animal skins. And at first she thought it was a reenactment for something. And she thought, oh no, am I in the way of their reenactment? But she couldn't see any like camera crews or anything like that. And she said this person was just like staring at her intently and like slowly making his way towards her. She then noticed, I think it was like 4 or 5 other men appear, all in the same sort of appearance of these like animal skins and spears, and looked really unkempt. And she said they were talking in a language that she didn't really understand, but they were making gestures for her to like back off sort of thing. So she started sort of backing off, and she said they started chanting. And then they started chanting, and then she gets to like tree line away from him, and she says she sees what looks like a dragon in the sky. And this sounds absolutely crazy. I don't know if it's real, but it's one of the stories that comes from Cannock Chase, which said this dragon then emerged in the sky, and it came down and landed. And she said that the 5 men who were chanting were then attacking it. They were fighting with it, and she said she was absolutely petrified. So at this point, she was running away because she thought, well, this thing's gonna attack her. And that I think she went back again at a later point, but of course there was nothing there. But just this really weird sort of things that go on in sort of like Cannock Chase area, and it's
yeah.
I think there's a cemetery, quite a few cemeteries there as well. But I'll have to look it up because I've been meaning to do a deep dive in the research of that area, but it just I haven't managed to do it yet. But yeah, I definitely want to visit it one day because it just looks, absolutely beautiful. But yeah, I'll be constantly looking to see if any heads are poking out behind the tree, like looking at me.
What would you do if you saw that, though? Would you go or would you delve deeper? I don't know.
I know exactly what I'd do. I'd probably freeze and wish I never saw it.
Yeah.
It's like that thing where you think you're braver than you actually are. I mean, I think I'd like to see it, but at the same time, I think a primal fear would sort of like take over because, you can't if you've never seen anything like that before, and then you're face to face with something. Usually, the first thing you get is fear, and it's like if you meet a new animal you've never like met before, because you don't know what it is, you don't know if it will eat you or attack you, you just never sort of like know. So I think it is like built into us to be sort of like
definitely
to run.
That kind of change sounds really cool though. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, I've been meaning to go there at some point. I've been to Cannock, but not to actual Cannock Chase.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Your ghost stories. Your ghost stories.
It's been amazing to talk about it and sort of relive that experience of what we both encountered that night. Because that's the thing, we both can back up each other's story because there's a witness, and many times there's usually either one person has seen or heard something, but when you have two people, it's like you're confirming it with each other because like, well, I definitely heard something. Did you? Like, yes, and then we've got the evidence of it. So
have you ever thought that people don't believe us or things like that?
yes, yeah. I mean, I've showed people that recording before, and they just go, "You've made it up. Nah, it's not real. You found that. You've made it up online, or you found it online somewhere." It's like, no, it's genuine. Like, I put it on my laptop, and I shortened it and repeated it so you could hear it clearly because it was only a couple of seconds, but it's definitely there, and I wouldn't know how to create that. Really.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us tonight, Jack.
No, you're welcome. Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been great to chat about it. It's been really interesting.
You're welcome. Take care.
Yeah, you too. Bye.